morning, everyone. Let's get started just like usual here. So let's go ahead and sit up nice and tall, or you can be standing here, just really thinking about lengthening through the spine and those vertebrae. We're going to chin tuck back for 10. Let's get ready and begin. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. All right. Keeping that length through the spine. Our head turns 5 each direction. Here we go. We're going to turn, bring it back to center, turn the other direction, back to center, 3, center, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. We're going to maintain that length. We're going to add one more today, and we're going to do these half circle neck rolls. So what's going to look like is I'm going to drop my ear down towards my shoulder. It doesn't matter which side you start. And then I'm going to half circle it around to the other side. You should feel this nice stretch to the side. Okay. We're going to do that for 10. All right. 5 each side. So just pick a side to start. Okay. We're going to drop that ear down towards that shoulder. We're going to half circle it around. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. All right. Another one we're going to add on here are cat cows. We're going to do 10 cat cows. So you can either do them seated with your hands on your thighs here and rounding and untucking. Okay, so now we're going to get the spine involved with that neck movement, or we can do that standing variation where we're right here. Okay, let's get ready. We've got 10 reps. We're going to round and untuck. That's 1, 2, 3, remember no forcing, just going through your own range. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so next one we're going to do is we're going to do rotations. You can do these seated or standing. If you're going to be standing, you're trying to keep your hips facing forward, and we're focused on that thoracic rotation. So we want to feel this rotating. If you find that difficult, I suggest staying seated because it just takes the hips right out of the equation and you focus right on here. Okay, so we're just going to do 5 per side. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and twist 1, back to center. Other side 2, center. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. So we're working our way down. Okay, starting up here with the neck, going through the spine. We're going to continue on with our hip circles. So if you're seated, you're going to go ahead and bring your knees wide so you have room just to kind of rotate through here. Okay, we're going to do 5 each direction. Or you can be standing here and you will feel your hips a little more involved with the standing variation. Let's get ready. We're going to go ahead and hip circle for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to switch directions. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Final exercise for reps, okay? We're just going to march it out with our opposite hand foot pattern, and we're going to do 20 total. That's 10 per side, okay? So you can do this seated or standing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. All right. You can just kind of shake those wrists and ankles out. We're going to go ahead and get on the clock now. And I'm going back to a format of, we're going to start with a Tabata blood flow warm up. We just kind of did some mobility here. Now we're going to do a Tabata blood flow with 2 exercises. We have 8 exercises we're going to roll through for 45-15 for 3 rounds. Okay. And then we're going to finish with 2 more Tabatas. So we had good success with this format before. So we're going to go ahead and do it again. And our first one here is going to be our jack press. And I want to give you some options here of what you can do here. Jack press, you can come forward and tap the toes here, or you can come above, okay? Take the arms out if it feels like too much, okay? And just kind of, maybe you just want to do something like this without, if it causes irritation through the shoulders, to do either of these, okay? So our first one is jack press, just 20 seconds. Remember, these go fast, or you could do this one, or a mixture. And then our second one is our hamstring curl and our pull back, okay? So you can either pull through the elbows, bringing the elbows back, or you can do a straight arm press, either or maybe a mixture, okay? So this is a 4-minute block, okay? We're gonna start with that jack press. Let's get ready in 3, 2, and 1. Remember, you can be here or here. And maybe you wanna do, that was 4. Maybe you wanna do 4 of each if your shoulders are healthy and it doesn't cause you problems. 3, 2, 1, okay. Next one, hamstring curl with that pullback, okay? In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. So we're just going to alternate through these 2 exercises for 4 minutes. That's 4 rounds of each of these. And that should get our body temperature elevated so that we can go into our strength work. And time, okay, we're going back to that jack press. In 3, 2, and 1. Remember, you can press up, press forward, maybe a combination, and just move the arms down, something like this if it hurts to go overhead, okay? Or forward. Shoulders are tricky. And time, okay, back to that ham curl pullback, okay, in 3, 2, and 1. Warming up the knees, the legs, the thighs, the front and the back, the shoulders, the back muscles, the heart. And time, okay, top around 3, back to our jack presses in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Tap, tap. I'm just doing a little bit of both. You don't have to. Remember, this is your workout. You do what feels right for you and your body. Time, back to our hamstring curls with that pullback in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. On the squeaky part of the floor today. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, we have one more round of each. All right, this is our final round. Back to those jack presses in 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Tap and press. Tap and press. Three, 2, and 1. Okay, all done with those. Final round of our hamstring curls with that pullback. Okay, and 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Almost there. Last 5 seconds. 3, 2, and time. Okay. First Tabata is finished. We're going to go into our longer section now. Okay, so 24 minutes of work is next on our 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest. We have 8 exercises, so we're going to just roll through that 3 rounds. We get 3 sets of each exercise. And everything here we have done before. Okay, so we've got lunges, squats, curl to press. Okay, take the press out. If you can even do a curl to external rotation if the overhead pressing is painful for your shoulders or neck. Okay, we have that lateral 2-step we started where we're with the windmill arm, where it's either step together, step, step together, step, or if you want to take it up a notch, you're going to do a little shuffle. Boom. So it's just that little hop there. If you feel confident in your ability to do that there, okay? After that, we have our hinge and row, nothing new here. A sit squat with an overhead press. Again, we're going to take the press out if that's uncomfortable. And knee raise and twist. Okay, so we're going to add some rotation for the obliques as we twist. And then we have a windmill. Okay, so a little more rotation. We're going to get internal and external obliques by doing those 2 rotation moves. I am going to start round 1 seated. Okay, so we are starting with our alternating lunges. So you're going to hold the back of your chair, the side of your chair, or no chair. Now remember, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, think of each, component of it and go down where your body allows you. Okay, you don't have to try to get all the way down here if your body's not letting you get there. Okay, otherwise, and you're alternating. Otherwise, you're doing a seated alternating leg press with me. Let's get ready and begin. Okay, so if you're seated with me, we're towards the edge of our chair here with our glutes, so we can hold on to either the arms or the sides of the chair, scooping back through our abdomen here and pressing with the heel of our foot, some imaginary heavy object. Okay, trying to lengthen the leg and engage the quadricep on the top of the leg and the glutes. Just as I demoed before we started with your lunge, you can kind of think about how there's 4 parts to that movement. Staying focused and keeping your thoughts connected to your body and what it's doing. 2 and 1. Okay, next we have our squats. So with or without weight, feet are about shoulder width apart. Sink it down, drive it up. Sink it down, drive it up, okay? Pressing through the heels. If you're seated with me, alternating leg extension, okay? So we're double on that quads. You should feel the quads again. by doing lunges and squats back to back or our seated variations back to back. We're going to move to upper body next with our curl to press, with or without weight. And remember, for the next one, if the overhead pressing is not good, I'm going to show you the bicep curl to external rotation is going to be our modification there. 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. So seated or standing. If you find that your low back is of any kind of irritation to you, you might prefer the seated, even if you can do this standing, okay? So here we go. We're going to curl and press, bring it back. My knuckles are staying out to the side the entire time for the curl and the press, okay? This is called a neutral grip, and it's the safest and healthiest for the shoulder. Now, if you are not going overhead, you're going to give me that underhand. My knuckles are down. You're going to no money drill out, bring it back and down. So overhead pressing is a nuisance to your neck or shoulders. Here's your modification. All right. Otherwise, we're 3, 2, and 1. Good. Now we're going to go to our lateral 2-step with that windmill. Let's see. Remember, it's step together, step. Okay, and those arms are doing that circle, or you can give a little hop there and make it a shuffle, okay? If you're seated with me, we're gonna do one at a time so we can focus on the arm. Let's see. There we go. No, there we go. Swoop, swoop. Boy, that took a minute. Swoop, swoop. So I would say the seated is a little more cognitive. Definitely test your mental abilities of connecting your brain and your body movement. I think the standing one comes a little more natural, but that could just be me. And time. Okay, so next we have our hinge and row. Okay, so we're working the back side of the body. Feet are underneath the hips. Remember, we hinge. Our knees aren't locked out, but they're relatively straight. Then we're going to row using our back muscles. And we're going to use our glutes and hamstrings to stand back up. And then right back down again. And up. This looks the same seated. Okay. Hinge. Keeping that neutral spine, okay? Check in with your upper back and your shoulders. Make sure that they're pulled back and you're not like excessively rounding through your upper back and neck. You want to try to stay nice and neutral through the spine here. Remember, just stay focused on your exercise and the movement that your body is doing. Feel your body and your muscles working. And time, okay? If you notice your mind drifting off, thinking about errands you have to run or whatever else is going on, try to bring it back. Okay, next we have our sit, squat, and press. Or we're going to do an alternating leg extension and press. So feet are about hip width apart. Going to drive it up, press, bring it back. Drive it up, press, bring it back. Okay, take the press out. Okay, again, shoulder, neck issues, take the press out. Press. This is our seated variation. Leg extension. Leg extension. Press. Three, 2, and 1. Good. Moving on, we have our knee raise and twist. Okay, so we're going to be body weight for this, or if you have like a silver sneakers ball, you could use something like that because there's not really any weight there. Because you don't really want to hold a lot of weight as you're trying to twist and balance on one leg here. We want to focus on that balance and core control. All right, and I like to Give a nice exhale as I'm twisting, trying to pull my belly button back towards my spine. And notice how exhaling through the belly there can aid in your rotation, contracting those deep core muscles. 5 more seconds here, and then we're on to our last exercise in this first round. Okay, next we have windmill. So we're gonna come wider than shoulder width apart, right? As we exhale and reach towards the opposite foot and come back, okay? This is what it looks like seated here, right? And standing. So there's no rule saying you have to touch the other foot with those fingers, okay? You're just going in that direction. I want to show you what it looks like standing from the side for all of you who are standing. So you see my knees are not locked out, but my legs are relatively straight, okay? Keep it going. Go back to my seated. We have 10 more seconds here, and then we're going back to the top with our lunges or seated leg press. 5 more seconds. 2, and time. Okay, top of round 2, get your drinks whenever you need them. We're just gonna be rolling through. We're going to our alternating lunges now. Back of your chair, side of your chair, or no chair. Or you're doing your seated variety, which is that seated alternating leg extension. Stepping up back, lowering it down, driving it up, returning. Staying focused. Remember that front foot should be completely planted on the floor. Okay, if you feel your heel popping up as you're lowering down, I want you to adjust your foot placement, play around with where that back leg goes, okay, because you really want to make sure the heel of the foot on that front leg is connected to the floor the whole time you're lowering and lifting. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, goblet squats are next, okay, or an alternating leg extension. We're going to take our feet about shoulder width apart, okay? Heels are right under our shoulders, toes are slightly flared out, with or without weight. We're going to push the hips back, drive it up, okay? Even if you're not using weight here, I like to cross the hands in the front because that helps remind us that we're trying to keep our chest upright a little bit more so we get into our quadriceps a little bit more. Shape from the side. Think about how this movement looks different than our hinge and row, right? There's a lot more knee flexion and our chest stays upright more. 5 more seconds here. Driving through the heels, 2, and 1. Good, rest from the lower body here. We're gonna go to our curl to press. And remember, and our knuckles stay out to the sides for that, we stay neutral. However, if you can't do that overhead pressing, we're gonna bicep curl and externally rotate, our knuckles stay underneath, okay? So you're gonna pick which one works for you. I'm gonna maintain seated for this as my lower back is just talking to me a bit this morning. So I'm just using precaution. Sometimes when my lower back bothers me, pressing overhead can irritate it a little bit. So I'm choosing to modify to something that works better for me. 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Next exercise, we have that lateral 2-step with those circular arms, or you're going to turn that into a little bit of a shuffle, okay? Let's get ready. In 3, 2, and 1. So it's step together, step, tap, step together, step, tap. If you feel comfortable there, you can step, hop, step, tap, step, hop, step, tap. Okay, Remember the seated one was a little wonky for me, but you're doing one extension with a swirl and back. Takes a lot more focus on that one, I felt. This just kind of flows. Five more seconds here. And time on those, okay. Moving on to our hinge and row. All right, so you're either doing an alternating seated leg extension or you're putting your feet right under your hips, okay, toes forward, right? Now we're gonna push the hips back. My legs are relatively straight but not locked out. My head is facing towards the ground. Row it and squeeze the glutes up. And then again. So think back for a minute how we were just doing goblet squats. Think about how our foot position was wider. It was underneath our shoulders and our toes were slightly out. Think about how our chest stayed more upright. And think about how there was more knee flexion. Okay, and notice the differences between the two exercises. 2 and 1. Okay, onto our sit, squat, and press. So feet are coming right out to that hip width apart. Okay, and remember, you're going to do an alternating leg extension to press if you're seated. Okay, otherwise, we're going to sit it down, drive it up, press it up. Take the press out. If it's too intense for the upper body. Right here, when I'm driving up, I'm pressing through the heels. I'm really squeezing my glutes. I'm keeping my glutes nice and squeezed when I'm pressing up, okay? Keep that time under tension on the muscle and talk to your glutes and tell them to stay engaged. Woo. 3, 2, and 1. Starting to feel that heat build up here. Or if you're using weights, we're going to put them aside. We're going to do our knee raise and twist. This is a great seated variation as well. So, you know, modify if you need to. If you're standing and it feels a little intense, go to seated. All right, we're trying to find that balance. Think back to our bicep curl and march. How this just offers a little layer of complexity by adding that rotation. Almost done this one. And we're going to windmills. We have 10 more seconds here. Woo! And time, okay. Woo, okay. So feet nice and wide for this one, whether you're seated or standing, okay? Wider than shoulder width, okay? We're gonna go ahead and cross over and reach towards the opposite foot. Ready? Begin. Reach. And again, my knees aren't locked out, but they're relatively straight. I'll show you from the side. Check out how my hips push back. My knees stay soft, but they're not bent a lot. And how I'm trying to keep my spine nice and straight. So what I'm not trying to do is this, right? See that? I'm not trying to do this. I'm trying to keep that length through the spine. Think of like 2 halves of the suitcase closing, right? 3, 2, and 1. One more time through, guys. We're going back to lunges. Get your drinks as you need it. Take extra rest if you need it. Lunges or alternating seated leg press. Here we go. Stepping back, lowering down, driving up, return. Okay. Check in with the stance of your left and right leg. There should be space in between. The same way there's space right here at our starting position. Good, this is our final set of lunges. We've got 10 more seconds here. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Goblet squats or alternating seated leg extension are next. Option to use weight here. Either going to cross your hands in front or hold on to weight. Feet are about shoulder width apart, toes slightly out. Here we go. We're going to sink the hips back, press through the heels, drive the glutes. Staying present, really focus on your body and muscles contracting. Almost on these. Got 10 more seconds here, then we're going to go to an upper body movement. We have our curl to press or curl to external rotation. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so remember, if overhead pressing is no good, you're going to give me a bicep curl with the knuckles down, out, in, and down. And if you're okay with overhead, we're going to keep the knuckles out to the side for a neutral press. Okay, here we go. Seated or standing, I'm going to opt for seated today. Should feel that body temperature really kicking up a notch by this point. Good. 10 more seconds here. 3, 2, and 1. All done with those. We have our lateral 2-step with that shuffle, or with that circular arm, or the shuffle, or you're doing the seated variation, which is there it is. Okay, here's our seated. Swoop. So the fingertips end in the same side as the toe that's out, or we're just doing our standing step together, step up. Turning it into a shuffle, if that feels good. It's our fun one. You know, I like to throw a fun one in. Good. 5 more seconds here. 3, 2, whew, and 1. Okay. Hinge and row for the final time. Okay. Feet are underneath the hips now. Toes are forward, so that stance is more narrow than our squat. Right. We're going to go ahead and begin by pushing our hips back. Look, it looks like I can put a tray on my back with glasses of water on it, right? And it'll stay filled, right? That's the goal of what we're trying to make our back look. So we want to make sure the shoulders are pulled back and that we're looking at some fixed point on the floor, somewhere in front of us. We're not looking down at our belly or anything. We don't want that chin excessively tucked because that's going to take our neck out of alignment with the rest of our spine. Almost there. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, sit, squat, and press is next. So we're going back to that shoulder width stance. Okay, toes slightly flared out. All right, and you're either going to give me an alternating leg extension and press for a seated variation, or you're going to join me here. We're going to sit it down, drive it up, press it up. Okay. When I drive up right here, Pressing my heels into the floor. My glutes are still squeezed and engaged when I'm pressing overhead. Okay. And remember, take the overhead press out if you need to. Get a lot of bang for your buck with these types of movements where we're moving a lot of joints throughout the body here. Ankles, knees, hips, elbows, shoulders are all working cohesively here. Time. Okay, next we have our knee raise and twist. If you remember, if you're having a hard time with your balance, the seated variation is awesome. So don't, feel like you're cheating yourself to go down a notch if you're used to usually standing for your exercises. Remember that 3 strikes you're out rule I talked about. It's okay if sometimes you lose balance once. Well, that can happen to the best of us, right? It can even happen to the best of us 2 times in a row. But good rule of thumb is if you lose your balance 3 times in a row, it might be appropriate to modify as your body's just not loving it at this particular time. Three, 2, and 1. Okay, final one, and then we're going to break, and we've got 2 sets at Tabata. Okay, going into those windmills, so our legs go nice and wide here. Okay, so this is like our hinge movement when you think about it, right? Like when we do our hinge and row, but our feet are wide and we rotate through it. But if you notice, the legs are still relatively straight without the knees being locked out. And we're still bending our upper body forward and keeping that spine straight, right? We're not rounding through it. And you should feel a nice little stretch through the back of the legs. Ten more seconds here and we break. 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. Let's take a rest. That was 24 minutes of movement straight through. Now we're going to shorten the blocks to just 4 minutes, but we are going to try to up the intensity a little bit, right? Because we're only doing those 20-second intervals, okay? So the first one is the Tabata we have already done before, okay? And that's our lateral tricep extension. So we're just going to keep this body weight. We're going to act like we're slicing the air with the side of our hands here, okay? And we're going to add that tap. Okay, so this looks the same seated, right? Tap, 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 tap. The second one, have your weight somewhere close by. Because remember, we only have 10 seconds transition time. We're doing the triceps again, but we're tapping back and extending back. Okay, and we'll add weight to that second set. Okay, so these are our 2 movements. Okay, I will do round 1 seated. We have 4 rounds, 20 seconds for of work, 10 seconds of transition time. All right, so starting with the body weight, lateral tricep extensions with the lateral taps in 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Remember, with these shorter little intervals, these are the ones where if you feel comfortable and capable and confident, where you can kind of push yourself to go a little harder because they are shorter work intervals, okay? But again, just listen to yourself, okay? If that doesn't feel appropriate today, then just focus on quality movement and not trying to increase your intensity, okay? So now we're doing our tap backs and our tricep kickbacks. So 4 minutes of work through the triceps here and the hips. And time, okay? So back to our lateral taps. I'm going to move to standing for the next rounds. Okay, here we go. I'm thinking of that tricep engagement when I'm like splicing. When my hands are straight like this, when my arms are straight like this, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze through the back of the arm, and time. Okay. Whew. Shake it out, grab your weights. Now we're gonna do tap backs with the kickback, okay? Again, thinking of those triceps. Squeeze when they're extended straight. Good, 5 more seconds here. And time. Back to our laterals now. In 3, 2, and 1. Think of those triceps. Trying to keep the elbows shoulder height. If you notice like this, see this right here? Like my elbows are far below my shoulders. Oops, try to pick them up, okay? Or even one at a time if it becomes like it burns too much. And time. Back to our kickbacks and our tap back in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Squeeze, squeeze. Three, 2, 1. Woo-hoo. One more round of each, okay? One more round of each. Then we break and we have one final Tabata. 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Last time doing these. Elbows stay at shoulder height. Squeeze, squeeze. Three, 2, and 1. Woo. Those arms working now. Okay, final set of our kickbacks and tap backs. In 3, 2, and 1. So remember, it's about 80% of that weight is in that front foot as we tap back and extend those elbows straight. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Rest, recover. We have one more Tabata to get through. Okay. We're going to drink here and just let that heart rate come down a little bit. So this Tabata is still going to be 2 exercises, but what's going to be different is we're going to, I don't know how to explain this except for just telling you through. For the standing, you're going to tap back left, knee drive right. Tap back. Think of the Charleston, right? So in fact, that's your modification. If knee driving is difficult, you're going to give me basically the Charleston, okay? So tap back, tap forward. And you might even want to try just doing this first and then eventually transferring to the knee drive. Tap back, knee drive. So tap back right, knee drive left. Tap back right, knee drive left, okay? So that is, you're gonna do that exercise. Then we're gonna do our slip rope squat, alternating back and forth, okay? And then when we go back to that tap to knee drive, we're gonna tap back left, knee drive right. Okay, we have to, whatever we do, we have to do even. So we're gonna get 2 sets on each leg doing this exercise, with, with this, starting with the lead leg, okay? So I'm gonna do round 1 seated here, okay? So we're going to tap back. I'm gonna tap back left, knee drive right, tap back left, okay? And I'm trying to think of my opposite hand and foot pattern, okay? So let's get ready. We're gonna tap back left first, whether you're seated or standing. And 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Tap back left, Remember, just tap forward if the knee drive is too intense, like the Charleston, right? Three, two, and one. Okay, slip rope squats are next. Okay, if you're seated with me, how we do these is we just keep a nice wide stance and we just go under and over the rope. Okay, here we go, keeping that length through the spine and the seated variation. Good, we have 5 more seconds here. 2 and 1. Okay, now we're going to tap back right, knee drive left. Okay, we have to, what we did on one side, we got to even out and do the other now. Okay, here we go. Tap back right. Three, 2, and 1. Okay, back to our slip rope squats. I am going to move to standing for the remainder of the time now. Remember, if you're seated, those legs stay wide. You go over and under with your upper body. Here we go. Stepping over and under. Over and under. Remember, we got to clear that imaginary rope. So we got to duck under it. That rope's about shoulder height, and you got to slip your head under it while you're going under. Okay, so we are back to tap back left, knee drive right. Okay, here we go. Tap. Three, 2, and time. Good. Slip rope squats. And 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Under and over. Three, 2, and 1. Okay. Now we're going to tap back right, knee drive left. Okay. 3, 2, and 1. Two, and time. Okay, last round of slip rope squats, guys. Here we go in 3, 2, and 1. Clearing that rope and side stepping. Good. We're almost there. 5, 3, 2, and 1. Woo. All right, guys. Nice work. We're going to go ahead and recover here. Let's get a drink. And we are going to stretch out. Ooh. And let's start, just like we did with our warm-up, let's start with the top of our body with our neck. So we did all those moving dynamic stretches in the beginning. Now we're going to hold our static stretch here by gently reaching those fingertips out. It doesn't matter which side you start on. Gently pressing toward on the side of the head here and feeling that nice stretch through the side of the neck. Trying to drop this shoulder, you know, like it's not like bunched up. You're just really trying to release and feel that stretch. You can go ahead and play around with the chin position too, maybe cupping the back of your head a little bit more and tucking your chin down and over and seeing how that stretch transfers. Ultimately, you do what feels best for you. If you need a little extra, you can go ahead and bend that elbow so that the knuckles touch the back of the small of the back there. And just breathe. Really trying to relax it. Make sure you're not tense. If you feel your shoulders are tensed up, like try to just let it go. And when you're ready, go ahead, release that palm if it's back there, and then release the hand off the head. Okay, coming back up to center. Let's just shake those shoulders out for a second as we go ahead and get ready for the other side. Okay, so I'm just gently going to reach with my opposite arm, grab onto the side of my head here. Really make sure I'm relaxing through that shoulder so you can feel that stretch. A few breaths here. And then you can go ahead and play around with your angle. You can kind of twist and turn your chin in the opposite direction. You can always grab onto a little bit more on the back of the head and see how that feels. Do what feels best for you and your unique body though. Deep breath here. And then you can either stay here, or if you'd like to add some intensity to the stretch, you can just bend at the elbow, placing those knuckles on the small of the back. And take some breaths. Relax into it. Excellent. When you're ready, if your elbow is bent, you can go ahead and release that. Okay. Release the head off the top of the head. Come back to center. Let's do a couple more alternating shoulder rolls back here. All right. Good. And now we're going to thoracic twist. So we're seated here. We're going to take our palms to one side, and we're going to arc our arms over and place them on the opposite side. And we're trying to look past that back shoulder, wherever your range of motion is, though. It may not be looking behind you, but more to the side of you. That's fine. Just feeling that thoracic twist through the rib cage. Big inhale and exhale. Feel your rib cage fill up with air here. And almost stretch out the muscles just from the inhalation of filling up with air before you exhale. Good, one more breath here. And when you're ready, go ahead, take those hands and just arc them over to the other side. Nice fluid sweeping motion to the other direction. You may notice there's different range of motion on one side to the other. You know, we're not symmetrical as much as, you know, we have two legs and two arms and, you know, two eyes and all of these things. That doesn't necessarily mean that our muscles are balanced or our skeleton is balanced, right? Well, little things going on here within our body. Deep breath, feel the rib cage expand. And exhale. And when you're ready, come and bring it back to center. Let's go ahead into a standing position here. We're going to forward fold onto the back of our chair here. Okay, so just creating, our palms are on the back of the chair, creating a 90-degree bend through the hips, feeling how that stretch gets through our the back of our shoulders, but it also reaches through our lumbar spine and our hamstrings. Okay, you can add some gentle movement here if you like, just swaying the hips back and forth and taking notice to how that stretch kind of works around your sacrum, your lower back. Good. And when you're ready, very gently and very slowly walk yourself back up to standing. Okay. And we're going to finish off with some ankle and wrist exercises. So let's just, you can either be seated or standing here. If it feels like too much intensity on that standing leg, we're going to flex and point here for 5. And then we're going to circle 5 each direction. Same thing, other side. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. We're going to flex and point here. And then when you're ready, let's do 5 circles each direction. Good. And then we're going to finish off with our wrists. So let's take your hands on your chair here, okay? And you can put your palms, I'm going to do my chair this way. I'm going to put my fingertips are on either side, okay? And I'm just gently going to sway. And my wrists are right underneath my shoulders. And I'm just gently swaying side to side here, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick the hands up. We're going to take our knuckles and we're going to put them down on the chair with our fingertips facing our knees. If this is too intense, okay, if it just feels like, and you should feel stretched through the front of your forearm here. If this is too intense, I want you to take one arm at a time and just use your own self-pressure this way, okay? This is going to be a little bit more intense of a variety, so you just figure out what's most appropriate for you here, okay? Good. And then let's release that and give me a couple wrist rolls here. Each direction, 3 to 4 each direction, because we're going to do the wrist rolls again, okay? And then our last stretch is, if it's too intense, to put your palms facing down on the chair with your fingertips facing your knees here. Again, you're going to do it. You're going to do one arm at a time, one hand at a time, applying your own amount of pressure, okay, in this reverse position, okay? So now we have our palms down versus our knuckles, okay? And it's okay if your palms don't come flat on your chair. You're trying to feel a stretch through the inside of your forearm here, okay? And then let's release that. And again, let's just do 3 circles each direction here. The other way. All right. And then we're just going to go ahead and close out here. We're going to take a nice big inhale up. Exhale. Palms to heart. One more time. And exhale. Palms to heart. Okay, guys, that's a wrap today.